Hey, what's up, dudes? I'm going to start today's Coach's Corner, so I guess that's what we'll call it. Let's call it Coach's Corner while I'm getting ready. Mostly audio, so I'm going to set the phone down, but you can just listen in. All right, so programming. From the start, what we have to look at is what gets success is consistency. That is the number one factor. So when I look at intaking a new person, we've got templates. And the reason why we have templates is because most people need most things generally the same, especially initially, until they get into performance stuff. So when we look at consistency, the biggest thing to look at, and it's much harder online, it's much easier in person, but we have to look at how often is somebody going to be able to come in. And that is a combination of when are they logistically and physically able, along with their training age and what else they're doing. So if Mick has got a guy who's doing jiu-jitsu 4 days a week, he might be able to get away with something like 2 days a week of strength training. But if you got a guy who's like, I want to get in shape, I want to perform, I want to lose fat, etc., all these keywords that you hear a lot of times, that guy, if he's not doing anything else, he's probably going to have to get at least 3 days a week to get success, some type of results. So where you run into issues is most of these guys are under high levels of stress, and recovery's got to be a focus. But again, going back to consistency, we have to make sure they're consistent. For some people, that means they can do 3 days a week and they can stay consistent. For other people, they have to do something every single day in order to create the habit. So that's one of the reasons why there's a lot of mobility, there's a lot of additional stuff, especially type A's that are basically on switch or off switch. You give them something to do with that time. So that way they're not doing too much to where they can't recover, but they're also maintaining the habit initially, because a lot of these guys may have worked out previously, but they haven't worked out in a while. So getting that consistency is a art mostly of how can you get them consistent. And again, sometimes a guy can go 3 days a week with just strength training and a little bit of conditioning, and that's fine, and he'll be able to do that. Other guys, you have to kind of idle hands, as the work of the devil. You've got to keep them busy with something. So that's a lot of places where mobility can come in, or conditioning, and that conditioning can be low intensity, or it could be some type of circuit slash, like, hey, do some kettlebell work, do some row, spike, etc., that kind of thing. So that is the first thing I look at, is how many days is somebody gonna need based on their other activities, and then matching that up with what they can actually recover from, combined with their personality specifically on can they do a program of 3 to 4 days a week and recover from without having to worry about them breaking the habit, or do they need to do something every single day without pushing them over the limit to where they're just completely fried. So first looking at somebody with intake, that's generally the first route I start going, is right there, is looking at how do we get them consistent. This is kind of where Christian Thibodeau's neurotyping comes in. Is like, you can kind of have a guess of what kind of exercise type somebody's going to be more into. So like if you get a 2A, which is typically your most social people, you want to get them into a kind of a group class. If you get a 2B, bodybuilding, Pilates, yoga, depending on if they're more yin yang, female, masculine energy. Your ones, you got to have power and speed and strength and competition. Threes, stamp collecting, or you can even take threes. They're going to be very hard for athleticism, but they will master a skill. But they want to do the same thing every single day. So that's kind of like how you can get a rough guideline. But that's a little bit more advanced. Again, initially, it's all about the days. Toss in a template, see how they do for 2 weeks, and then kind of go from there. And you can adapt and adjust, and they'll kind of let you know. Typically online, you'll see the vast majority of people just don't get the habit. In person, much easier, just because they're actually showing up to appointments and whatnot. So that'll be it for the first one.